Greetings, folks, and welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Coco Smooth, the Casual Collector. In this segment of Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, the wish it was a vintage collection piece. I am showcasing the 40th anniversary Masterverse He-Man. Now, I believe that they were intentionally going to make this a vintage collection piece, but He-Man's so popular in his own that it almost kind of doesn't make sense to do it that way. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so this is what the package looks like for the vintage collection, and this has more of a throwback look than the other one, but still, this is what it looks like. I almost came close to not doing this video because you ever did something that you just really wanted for yourself? He-Man was that, because He-Man was the very first action figure that I ever wanted as a kid, and it was a sacred's not the right word, but because it's not that deep, but you know what I'm saying, it's just super personal. That's really what it is, what it comes down to. You know what I mean? But yeah, his 40th anniversary package. Now, I'm not gonna front, the face looks too friendly, too campy versus how I imagine I think the vintage face might be a little more mean. This one's a little on the happier side of things, But yeah. Um, I don't know if they're going to release one under the vintage series, but I don't think it's gonna make sense to, since he's gonna be pretty much the same fig, really, unless they do so with a different head. In which case, then I'll be like, gosh, dang it, why did I get this when I could have got the vintage? But I don't know if they're actually going to do it. Just to me, I don't know. We'll see, right? Time will tell, right? Yeah. No mini comic like it was when I was a kid, but it's all right. I would have loved to have this be in the vintage, just because, the package, just to be congruent with the rest. You know what I'm saying? Congruency. That's what your boy Coco's about. You know what I'm saying? Just congruency. All right. Ooh, didn't realize I had this kind of rubber thing going on. Okay, good. Got that out of the way. So his. Okay. A lot more than I bargained for. But let me see. Let me try to get it out. Now, this is not a Walmart exclusive, which is why it's awesome. But now it makes me wonder, like, well, why didn't they make the rest of them not exclusive? It comes with fist and a chop hand. Might be for a shield. Or when he does the held aloft pose with a sword, right? Okay, so now I guess the test. Will he be bigger or the same exact size as your boy Skeletor, right? I'm imagining that it should match. Ooh, right. Okay, so I was gonna say, yeah, this needs to be adjusted because I can't have him not have it on the side of his arm. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so the thing about this is that it appears that all Masterverse figs that are of the vintage like collection have the same kind of buck, but of course different forearms. Looks like, I don't know if the biceps are the same, probably a little bit different. I think they might be the same. No, different. Yeah, this one has a longer, the biceps are a little bit different. He-Man seems a little, just a tad taller in the 40th anniversary. Hmm. So if that's the case, then I imagine that him and Sunman should be the same height, which works for me because now Sunman has his, buddy. Both He-Man and Sunman can be the homies, because they're both power forwards now. While Skeletor is like a guard. Jeez, that expression on He-Man. Yo, dude. It's just too jarring for me. We need a we need some He-Man with a war face. Oh, Full Metal Jacket. Show me your war face, He-Man. Yeah, this is not a war face. This is a Okay, so this is kind of cool. You like I don't know how you'd be able to get the hand and thing to work somehow. I mean, I guess there's a way to do it, but it's kind of challenging, I imagine. Uh, you got to work, yeah, because what makes this challenging is the forearm attachment, right? His buckler or whatever you call it. It's not greaves. Greaves is for the legs, but bracer, I guess, more. Yeah, just it's kind of hard to operate. You know what I'm saying? Look, it just it's hard to do it with this in the way, and that now you got to adjust the hands to, what I mean, to open up to participate in the grip, right? So you might have to use tools to pry the hands open of the most powerful man in the universe, right? And then have it to hold and grip. Hopefully, there you go. You have them grip it. Oof. All right. Yeah, I'm doing that. Well, that's the good news. His shield is very friendly to the buckler, right? It doesn't conflict very much. The only hard part again is trying to get the grip to his thing. And of course, his sword of power, which is kind of cool and shiny, better designed than. I think this is probably the best of all the power sword iterations that I saw of the classic look. I think it looks the best. The only thing that about it that I have an issue with, maybe if there is an issue, that might be a little too shiny. But it is a sword, so it kind of makes sense for it to be shiny. But then you'd have to make his chest harness just as shiny to match. You know what I mean? In my opinion. But yeah, I'm not gonna give him no fist because I don't see him punching nobody. Now I think there was a battle axe somewhere. Yeah, here's battle axe. There you go. When I first saw He-Man, the thing I was very more impressed with as a kid was him carrying a battle axe than a sword. I always thought that the He-Man was more of a battle axe guy because of how big he was. It just made sense that somebody as big as He-Man was using this gosh dang, weapon instead. Sword's cool, but I don't know. It just the cartoon is what made this that gave him his sword, made his sword iconic. But to me, it was always his axe because I saw the toy axe first before I did see the cartoon, and it was just weird that I preferred the axe more for a He-Man as a kid. Um, the axe seems a lot more proportionate to what he has now versus when he was a smaller figure where the axe seemed huge. But yeah, I think it looks cool. Battle axe. Dang. I can only imagine if they did a cartoon based with him using the axe instead of his sword, what kind of how the canon would be. You know what I mean? Like He-Man with his axe of power and his mighty battle axe. Yeah, I think it would be cool if if he was running. See, that's the thing that why I probably didn't really like Adam that much, because that whole gimmick of him being He-Man, and at the same time, just if he was just He-Man the whole time, he wouldn't be forced to have to hang out with his sword, because the sword is what helps him to become He-Man. And I'm like, lame. I know. A lot of kids love Adam, that concept, but I thought it was goofy. But I did like the 2000X version better when he was Kid Adam, you know, versus super lavender wearing Prince of Eternia, as buff as He-Man, but got nowhere near the skill or power or anything at all. Just didn't add up to me. It didn't make no sense. So yeah. Um, so here he is with his nemesis, the Overlord of Evil, 40th. I mean, vintage collection Skeletor. He does tower over him ever so slightly, you know. Um, but I think it's negligible, especially since He-Man is supposed to be a giant figure, and this guy's a warrior wizard of sorts. So yeah, let's see how next to Zodak, if he. Yeah, this is the tandem right here. I love it. So I'm glad that they decided to make the most powerful dudes in canon the first ones, because Zodak's pretty powerful, Skeletor's pretty powerful, and Dagnabbit, your boy Sunman, is now you know part of the squad. I'm so happy that he's there now. Only thing we're missing now of the most powerful is Hordak, I'd say, but we'll get there at some point, I imagine. Yeah, this is a great look, guys. I love it. Um, yeah, so he's got this extra hand. Don't see me changing it or giving him the fist, because I love him being able to arm his shield and axe or sword. So I think this is a win. Um, yeah, final thoughts on this fig. I like it. The only thing I have an issue with is his face. I need him to have more of his vintage face versus this campy happy face. I'm sure that if they decided to do a vintage collection He-Man, it'll be in Walmart. This is my bet that they're going to do a battle armor vintage collection, and it'll have a different head, different face. In which case, I'll probably be compelled to switch out the face of battle armor onto that one. They'll probably end up with two, but they're probably going to have it so that they're not even the same color, so it won't match, and then it really frustrate the heck out of me. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how Faker is going to be, if he's going to be the same exact buck, or is it going to be this, or you know what I mean. I'm kind of curious to see where that goes when it finally comes. So, all right, folks. Well, this is all I have for this segment of Masters of the Universe, the 40th anniversary Masterverse He-Man. I am your host, Coco Smooth, the Casual Collector. And until the next video, folks, ciao.